So, Paul,
Yeah.
who has more to gain from a championship, SGA or Haliburton?
Oh, this is an easy one, Joy. It's Haliburton. Nobody's stock has risen as high as Tyrese Haliburton in this playoff run. We already seen SGA get the MVP. We already seen SGA come up second last year. We have expectations for SGA to win. As a matter of fact, he's a heavy favorite to win the championship. But Tyrese Haliburton, this is a guy who his peers deemed him overrated. People said he shouldn't have been on the Olympic team. People are like, he's all right. He didn't even make the All-Star team this year. He didn't even make his counterpart, Siakam, made the All-Star team. So if Indiana wins the championship, and there's a great chance that Haliburton will play well enough, if he gets the MVP, man, when I tell you, those things that his peers said about him, those things that coaches and GMs thought about him are going to fly right out the window, because we're going to be talking about him possibly being the best point guard in the NBA. I don't know. I mean, it's tough because the point guard position right now is as deep as it's ever been. But, hey, for him to carry an Indiana team past New York, past the #1 seeded Cleveland, past Giannis Antetokounmpo, who a lot of people eyes consider as a top 2 or 3 player in the NBA, I'm talking about this leap is going to be higher than, man, who the high jumper for the Olympics, whoever that is. But anyway, it's Tyrese Haliburton for me.
That's a compelling argument.
You say so more to gain. I think obviously both can gain something from it, but
Right.
more to gain is SGA. He's already got the regular season MVP. You go on and you win this championship. It's your first, right? You now, most likely, you win a championship, you're going to be the MVP of the final. So you get the regular season final, and you get the finals
MVP.
the MVP.
Regular season MVP and finals MVP.
And
He got the
finals
Eastern
MVP.
Conference MVP already. I mean, the Western Conference.
So you go regular season, Western Conference Final MVP, the Magic Johnson Award. Now you get the Finals MVP for winning the finals, and you got a 60-plus win team. And this is your second stop in the situation where you had the #1 seed. You just look at where he puts himself in the upper echelon of the NBA players. Because right now, when you start, how we like to throw top 5 player. Who is this? We don't, even though he won the MVP, we don't never say SGA. We always start with the Joker, and then we go to a Giannis. Then we argue about if it's a LeBron in there somewhere, if it's an Ant-Man in there, Mitchell in there, But we never have a conversation about SGA. So it's a lot to gain from that standpoint. Now, both of them have, but I think he just a little bit more, because it's going to kick him up to another level. And he got a lot of personality to me. I mean, he got a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see both you guys had your Wheaties this morning.
Wheaties.
I don't know, like
still
whatever.
sell Wheaties?
Just bring it.
Yeah, no, they still sell Wheaties.
They do?
Yeah, but Wheaties they weren't really in
Is that
my
an
household.
outdated reference?
No, this is not my
I'm
household.
just giving you guys compliments. It's very good. Two very good takes. I agree. Both of them obviously have a lot to gain, and I hear you on Haliburton because the jump is tremendous. It's Olympic high jump level. But I think it's SGA because what he it's just no winners and losers here. I think it's SGA because he, to me, will 100% win the Finals MVP if they end up winning the championship.
100%.
I'm not sure that Haliburton will necessarily win the Finals MVP.
Because he got another dude.
Well, yeah, and because his style of play, he can have these games where he's constantly distributing. Now, maybe they'll consider that to be something worthy of being Finals MVP, but if someone else on his team has more scoring or is more dominant in that way throughout the series and they end up winning, I don't know that it's a given that Haliburton would necessarily win Finals MVP. That doesn't mean he's not the leader, the face, that everything's going to go through him. But unequivocally, if OKC wins the Finals, he will be getting Finals MVP. We know that. The way that the team looks, the scoring, the output that he has, that is going to happen. So that's the only thing, is that they could win a championship, but I don't know it's a given that Haliburton would be the Finals MVP.
SGA can average 27-plus, right? Like, I'm just giving him a 27-plus number. I don't know.
He's averaging 29.8 points.
Yeah, but I gave him
this
27. I know I just gave him 27 to give it to him.
in the playoffs.
But Haliburton probably won't get there to that number, right?
But I'm saying, but if they win, we're assuming that Haliburton would get the Finals MVP, and I'm not positive that it wouldn't be a Siakam.
Right.
But see, Siakam won the Eastern Conference
I mean,
trophy.
just like Jaylen Brown
Larry Bird.
Right.
Jaylen Brown last year won it, and, you know, Tatum supposed to be the man.
And that's what I'm saying when you start thinking about the numbers, because a lot of it is going to be based on the average number, and I don't think his average number, even though, like you said, Joy, maybe you add in playmaking abilities, 10 assists, and you could try to say, okay, well, he has 10 assists as well. That added to the scoring.
But I don't necessarily know they're going to do that.
I don't know. I think, man, come on, y'all. We all know he should have won Eastern Conference MVP now. His influence on them wins, think about this. In those wins versus the Knicks, what games you remember? Game 1? The bounce, the bounce,
up and down.
All of this. Then the 35-point triple-double with no turnovers. I mean, just
no, he was spectacular. But I'm saying they tend to look at the numbers.
Yeah. How much did you average when you won it in 08?
I averaged 21. That's because I was averaging 25, and I had one bad game due to jet lag.
You had to throw that in there.
No, I had jet lag.
Just let y'all know I was jet lagged.
No, I had a six. No, seriously. I had a 6-point game in game 3 because we played game.
Wasn't that the Kobe game? We shut you down?
No. Look, we had game 2 in Boston on Sunday, and then we had game 3 on a Tuesday in LA. You see what I'm saying? So it was one day in between having to fly from East Coast to West Coast.
But how you gonna make that an excuse when you live on the West Coast and you travel all the time?
No. I lived in Boston throughout the season, Key. So I lost 3 hours. I lost 3 hours of sleep. I lost 3 hours.
Anyway, you averaged.
My routine was off.
You averaged 21. Was you the highest scorer?
What happened in the other games in the
You was the highest scorer at playoffs for y'all.
My team, yes.
So that's one of the reasons that not only were you great, but that's one of the reasons they gave you the MVP. Like
you weren't jet lag on the other ones?
No, it was one day in between, Joy. It was like 3 hours. But after that game 4, I had 38.
In 2010, they was jet lagged the whole series.
Well, let's talk about yesterday's breaking news. The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau 3 days after the Knicks were eliminated from the Eastern Conference Finals. Tibbs made the playoffs 4 of his 5 years in New York, but the team still decided to go in another direction. So now the conversation begins.
Why are you still laughing, man?
No, I'm just thinking of this right here. Tom Thibodeau.
Who's the best fit for the Knicks head coach, Bob?
Man, it's hard out here on a coach when you're trying to get the Knicks to the title. Hey, no, think about all the coaches that have been took out. It's hard out here on a coach.
Yeah, will you stop?
Look,
Get serious.
No, but look. Man, the Knicks is a difficult situation because I thought they shouldn't have fired Tibbs. You know, he advanced further than they advanced in 25 years. You know, he had him on. I think the roster deficiency is what kept them back from making the title. So, can they win it? Who's best for the coaching job? Man, I'm gonna go with Mike Brown. I like what Mike Brown is his kind of like, because he's been around in tough coaching situations from Cleveland with LeBron. He's been in great cultures. You know, he went to Golden State with Steph where he was an assistant. He helped turn Sacramento around somewhat. I think he'd be a great fit in New York. I think he has the personality, not quite like Tibbs or a Mike Malone, but more of a player's coach to where they can relate to him. I would like to see him in this position because of his experience, of his ability to turn around a culture. I truly believe that, you know, there's other coaches out there that may fit. Man, why not Mark? Hey, how about Mark Jackson? He hasn't been thrown in the coach's hat in a long time. I'm not sure if he still want to coach, but, you know, he has New York in his blood. He went to St. John's. He's a Knicks legend. You know, players can certainly relate to him. So there's a number of guys, but I think the Knicks have to be careful on who they choose and I think the coach, this is a tough situation to be because they're going to ask a coach to come in here and say, hey, we brought you in here to get us to the next level because they didn't believe Tom Thibodeau can get them to that next level. They believe that Tom Thibodeau maxed this team out. But what I say is the roster was maxed out. The inability that I didn't think he can take them no farther. They need a little more because as we saw Indiana depth wear them down, that was the difference in the series. So,
you know, it might be a wild card in terms of the coach that they select. I understand what Paul is saying about the roster, but one of the reasons he's going to be working alongside one of us at some point in time in the next several months, Tom Thibodeau, is because he, as they like to say, was a little hard-headed in terms of what the front office wanted him to do with that roster that Paul is talking about. They wanted him to go deeper than 7. And for whatever reason, he just didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do what they communicated with him about in terms of, because they felt they had a roster that could compete, but for some reason he just made this decision and he was going to do it the Thibodeau way. And he was going to be hard-headed and just, this is how I'm going to coach because this is how I learned how to coach. This is my success has been this way. And they kept trying to tell him over and over, and I kind of know this by talking to some little birdies that, hey, we want you to go 8, 9, 10. And he just would not do it. He refused to. Now, back to your original question, you got a Mike Brown out there. But I respect Mike Brown. I like Mike Brown. But I'm tired of seeing microwave coaches, reheated coaches. That you know how you take the food, put it in the microwave, reheat it up, it's going to be good again.
I love leftovers.
Yeah, after how many times, though? Like, damn. You ain't going to keep, you going to do it once. You ain't going to do it 4 and 5 times.
The same food or like different?
The same food.
Yeah, the same.
Mike Brown is a reheat 4 times over.
How you grew up that?
4 or 5 times, Paul? By the end, man, you can't go from Monday to Saturday.
Man, Mama gonna have that spaghetti.
No, we ain't doing that. No, you gonna get.
We gonna have spaghetti sandwiches.
Put a little pepper.
We gonna change it up though. We gonna put them in sandwiches.
Yes, a couple days.
Spaghetti sandwiches.
Mike Brown, think of spaghetti sandwich. Lord have mercy. With Wonder Bread, huh?
Yeah.
With a little butter on top. But look,
change the bread up.
But you talk about Mike Brown. Mike Brown has had stops twice in Cleveland.
So you want to see an assistant get an opportunity? So
let's check this out, though. So you go and you grab a dude like a Sam Cassell from the Celtics, right? You go ahead and you throw him in the mix. Same thing the Celtics did. They had to make a decision on Joe Mazzulla and hired him.
Yeah.
And they ain't looked back since. A young dude, even though Sam ain't young, but a young dude that has the first opportunity to become a head coach.
Yeah.
Take a look at that, you know, and see what that's for, opposed to reheating coaches over and over and over again. Like there's like 4 coaches in this league. Every time I look up, they get a job.
Back in the microwave.
Man, they back in the microwave. Back in the microwave.
On ice, frozen.
Man, they put back in the microwave. I think he'll be great.
Them out.
The first thing they say.
It's Memorial Day food.
No, that's gone. The Memorial Day food, that big gone. I threw that away a long time ago. But think about this though, Joy. They find these coaches, and the first thing they say is, "We need some stability. I think he can get us to where we want to go because he's a dictator. He's demanding.
I don't know that the Knicks need stability.
But they come up with excuses all the time.
No, I agree.
Take a look at him.
Do need
try to get Jay Wright. See if he wants to coach in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's got his Villanova guys over there. You grab, hey, man, money talks and everything else walks, right? At the end of the day, no matter what he says about coaching, I don't want to coach, I want to coach. Yeah, you'll coach if I do it right. And then you got Mike Malone out there and Taylor Jenkins, Rick Brunson sitting there. His son is there. He's sitting there as an assistant coach on the bench. So, it's a list of guys to choose from, but I would think first-timers for me, Sam Cassell types.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because the Knicks don't really need a culture or big shifts. Like, they're not, at least as a team right now, dysfunctional. So they really need to bring in somebody who's, if that's the concept, to push them over the edge. The problem with this job is, though, like you said, whoever takes this, you got to get to the finals. You have to get back to at least the Eastern Conference Finals because they allegedly let him go because he didn't take them as far as they thought they could go.
Right.
So this isn't a rebuild. This isn't you don't really have a long runway here to get things going. So whoever they end up hiring, the pressure's on immediately because he legitimately made this organization better.
Yeah.
Like this is a strange firing to me. I would have given them.
Give me a 5-year deal and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
This is the strangest year for firings, though, man. Like I said, it's hard out here for a coach. Like you got fired a week before the playoffs, Mike Malone.
Taylor Jenkins.
Taylor Jenkins got fired a month before the playoffs. Tibbs got you to the conference finals.
Yeah. It's tough.
Out out here for a coach.
You really just, like, sing it.
Yeah, you set up all night long.
No, you want to sing
No,
that?
it just came to my head.
Actually, I'm not even
When
going to
you're
do
trying
it.
to get to
I'm
the
not going to do it,
playoffs or the
Darnell. I'm
finals.
not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I've censored myself. All right, Karl-Anthony Towns helped lead the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals, but reportedly his teammates and coaches became frustrated with his defensive effort. New York made a big move last offseason to acquire him, and Cat has 2 years plus a player option for a third left on his deal. Key, do you think that the Knicks can win it all with Cat?
I don't think they can as – well, first of all, he's not their one.
Right.
Their one is Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's the best second option because he's a little too inconsistent for me. He really is. And I know he's an all-star and all that and max money and the whole deal. I get it. And I understand they traded for him to be the number 2 guy. But they need somebody else because he doesn't play both ends of the floor every single night. You know, and there's times in quarters where he comes up missing. He goes into witness protection. And then they got to pry him out of witness protection in the fourth quarters. And then all of a sudden he has a 20-point game and we go crazy. Then he comes back the next game and does the same, repeats the same thing over and over and over again. It's just, I think if they get another type of piece and then maybe slide him into that 2.5 to third spot, then they'll have a serious opportunity. But if he sits at the 2 spot, I don't see, not at all.
I like the 2.5 spot.
Yeah, because I don't really want to make him a 3 because a 3 sounds degrading for a guy with this type of, a resume. So I'm going to give him 2.5.
Maybe he just doesn't always have to be the 3.
There you go. That's a better way of putting it.
I think you can absolutely win a championship with a guy like Cat. His production, his numbers, when you look down the line, he's consistently one of the best shooting big men year in and year out. And like he said, can he win as the first option a championship? I don't think so as a first option. If you can put Cat in a situation like you said, Key, where he's a third option most of the time, on some nights he's a second option, and on some nights he's the first option, but not every night having the option of being option number 1. Similar to like a Porzingis role. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? To where there's no pressure on him to deliver big numbers every single night, but he could be an X factor, a guy.
Well, I mean, gosh, if he's Porzingis, they got a lot of work to do. They got 2 more people. They
need one more player that's better than Towns. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I said. They need one more guy.
That's better than him, though.
Yeah.
And now you're thinking like, oh, okay,
Hard
this
to
is
get, though.
that is hard to get. That's hard to get.
Who would be better than Towns if they
Who would be better than Towns? Because there's not a lot of
They can
players.
get Kevin Durant.
If you keep Towns, if
Yeah,
you have Brunson, Durant, and Cat, you got something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a productive player. He's an all-star. I believe he made All-NBA this year. You certainly
good player. There's no
can
question.
win it all with him. It's just what type of role are you going to put him in on a championship team? And I believe that's the role.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the centerpiece of the team. Brunson is the centerpiece. They need another player.
I wonder if they can get KD, though.
I mean, if they can fit KD and keep Cat, they're
now they're ready.
Yeah, they're cooking with something there. But if they can make that work. But the point is that they need another player. Like,
yes.
I agree with you. This wasn't just a Thibodeau failing. Like, the roster at the top needs to be stronger if you're going to compete in the East. And, you have teams that are going to come back next year in the East stronger and retooled as well. So it's going to probably be a little bit different and deeper next year as well. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.